Hi. Good morning from the Geo-Negative Axis Institute. This is Udev. I will be giving you some good information today. It's Sunday, July 14th, I believe. And, summer's here. It's midsummer New York City. There was a black eye yesterday. And we can discuss some issues and see where GNA takes us out of my book, The Geo-Negative Axis. And I randomly pick it. That's my style. So that I can give you, just to show you that I'm a professional. Also, that I don't need to have a script to give you real philosophy. That it's something that I've learned and practiced for many years, and very rigorously, very hardly, very sacrificial. Some people learn things, but they didn't sacrifice for it. They didn't live a certain way. They didn't act, they didn't really do any sacrifice for the knowledge. They even cheated on the test sometimes, So, I'm just making sure everything's alright with that. So, I don't do that stuff, so I'm just gonna, alright. Okay. GNA actually spurs creation, page 106. Okay. Our understanding of GNA isn't only for the necessity of intelligence and capacity to be smart and survive, but GNA is also detectable and traceable by our outer appearances and perceptually. By how consciousness has shifted in its creation of the beings it upholds and formulates. For instance, women can also look better overall because of their housing that's based on a GNA law. With their double base negative orifice engine, we understand. From the triple negative fundamentally, they are catching the drift of GNA better, with their accentuated features of soft skin and other pretty things that men are void of, like their curves and defined facial features. The female body is important to understand and utilize well. With frequent bowel movements regulation, it can maintain one and make them better in many regards. The world is also dependent on the uterus to accept intercourse, in that the seminal discharge to produce a living human being. That's the most sophisticated technology we as humans create. However, some seem to circumvent its importance and are even allowed to violate and compromise the quality of life for others. Yet an automobile or a new computer is given the extended appreciation needed for the person. And this is how self-accepting doesn't work, and negation does. When we don't negate ourselves and we live for ourselves, all of our output will be positive and depleting. This is why so many chase a geopositive reality. But time and time again, it shows to be the less powerful, that it doesn't fulfill its interest in the long run, not cycling into what is needed, but what is wanted. We have to monitor the positive and not let it lessen the negative for this reason too. So you have to monitor the positive. That's the thing. So we want to be positive, right? We want to be happy. You have to monitor it. Meaning you don't want to accept overpraise. You don't want to accept somebody's credit. You don't want to take somebody's money. You have to monitor. You don't want to take somebody's wife, somebody's husband, or these are geopositive realities. Okay, so if you're taking somebody else's enjoyment or their finished products or their idea or whatever, then you're going against the grain, let's say, right? So we have to be very careful with this. And this is where also in this verse is very interesting. For some reason this color is like very I don't know. Oh, it's inside out. That's fine. All right. So for some reason, also, let's see. So we have So there's some good stuff here. So GNA law, the double base engine. I call it an engine because really, what is the part of that is it's part of the stomach. So the engine is like the stomach, and then the orifices are like the place where it lets out exhaust. So it's kind of like an engine. I give it that within quotations. So women could look better. We see that. Women are catching the drift of GNA because their position is somewhat negated. They have to bear children, which is a negative position. You have to give up yourself for something else, which is a great thing. It teaches them. Then they learn motherhood. So they have this position already in Earth that's already, it's qualitatively negative, which is with the good negative though, not the negation that helps you manifest life. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about negation of basically oneself and one's primitive desires or one's selfish desires to make something more pronounced for everybody. So, like I said here, people they give an automobile and a computer, they give so much preference, right? Don't touch my car, don't scratch my car. But what about the human beings around you? What about the people of your race or your religion or whatever it is you think you're part of, or whatever, or religious groups or religious friends? I mean, you honor them. So GNA will teach you more to honor life. That life is not a merry-go-round or just some kind of thing to have enjoyment, and then nothing really, no spiritual path or negation of the self. So when we negate the self, then we can understand the frequency of the earth. So we create humans on this earth too. We have to understand that. That's what I'm explaining. So the human is the most sophisticated creation, and we have to pay attention to that. If we are trying to be anything in life, and we don't pay attention to the most serious thing around us, which is human creation, and how it works, and how we structure it, then how can we expect betterment out of anything? That's the idea. So women catch the drift, and it kind of meaning that they see the world as for love. So their loving energy they have, their character becomes loving. Many women, and so they're able to see that they want to be pretty. They're kind of understanding what GNA or the world is about. There's a set tone of beauty. There's a set tone of wealth, of image. There's a value. What people value. So women catch that, and then they're like, oh, we need, I have to look like that, or I want to look like that. And believe it or not, when you're young and you associate with certain people, you can mold your looks to look like them, actually. Especially if you look similar to them. So that's usually the thing. You find a celebrity you look similar to, and then you kind of delve into them, and you can look very similar to them. Just by initiation of consciousness, just by desiring it. We have a potential to desire. A lot of people's desires do get filled, but some of them overrun previous desires, and they don't get filled. That's the story of the yogi. The yogi desires so much God that by the time it comes time to get material wealth, they don't even know what it is anymore. And it's hard for them, and they struggle. You see many yogis, many devotees of Krishna and stuff, they have some struggles here and there, because they've given it up. But everyone's become more efficient now. They're starting, I think, to pull together a bit. So things should get better with that. Let's check the time on this. So yeah, we're going to go to a verse here now from Srimad Bhagavatam. We get about 9-10 minutes of GNA. If you ever have any questions on what I just said, you could contact me. Basically, we went over the spur of creation, page 106. So women can look better on this planet, we see, right? They could really put it together. That's why we have Miss America. We don't really have Mr. America or Mr. Universe. We leave that for the women. Because when men get their body gets really pumped up, but they don't carry that look that women can carry. They have very thin, faces and all that stuff, and they're intrinsic. They're catching it. They're catching the idea of what beauty is, and they're trying to put it together. That's why when they do all the makeup, when you're doing makeup, you're trying to look like somebody, but you're also manifesting their looks and their qualities to your potential, to how you look and stuff. I know what helps with that is a natural diet, a vegetarian. So we're natural. If we give our bodies a natural thing, like vegetarian, vegan diet, then we're going to be able to naturally use our body and be able to sculpt it better and look better. Ultimately, that's certain. You understand, and that's understood by the GNA education. See, GNA teaches us in the reality of what we are and who we are and how we're spurring. We're spurring through consciousness, and that consciousness is available through our soul, and that can manifest almost anything for our body. You know, it depends on what we work for, what we sacrifice for, and what we really, really want. Not just want, like really want. You know, that's what penetrates through the, you know, through the heart, through the ether, through the world, and makes it so. But we can't want what harms others. We should stay away from that. If our desire is that someone else shouldn't get, or someone else shouldn't have, or someone should be beat, or someone should be killed, we have to step away from those desires. That's using your mode of passion very wrongly. And it may not be rewarded, it may even backfire. You do it to the wrong person, a saintly person, something like that, it can backfire on you. So we have to get our desires together. Alright, so we're going to go to Srimad Bhagavatam now. A little bit erudite. This is the 4th canto, so hopefully we'll find something that's a little bit easier to understand for you guys. Alright. So this is Brahma satisfies Lord Shiva. Good verse, good selection. This is Canto 4, Chapter 6, Text 48. Text 47. So I'll read the Sanskrit. Pratagdiya karamadrshodra sayaha parodaya yenarpita hridrujo nisham parandurukter vitudanti aruntudas tanmavadhi daiva vadhan bhavavidaha. Persons who observe everything with differentiation, who are simply attached to fruitive activities, who are mean-minded, who are always pained to see the flourishing condition of others, and who thus give distress to them by uttering harsh and piercing words, have already been killed by providence. Thus there is no need for them to be killed again by exalted personalities like you. So I believe this is the story of when Shiva, he had to kill Daksha, his father-in-law. Because his father-in-law not only didn't honor him, he blasphemed him. That is Lord Shiva. You know, this is in a world that we can't even see. This is in a sky we can't even see. It's beyond our universe. And Shiva and Brahma, they are now meeting after Shiva killed Daksha, which was his father-in-law, and his wife his wife was so upset that his father-in-law did that to Shiva, knowing Shiva's purity and his goodness, being the wife for a long time, that she gave up her body and accepted a new body. So they were demigods; they were able to produce a whole new body, and she did that. But it goes to show, though, that all of them, even though they were the topmost demigods, and then they could do that, they could switch bodies and give themselves new bodies and all that. But they did it according to what they deserved. So they didn't just give us. They were actually beautiful demigods, and they deserved beautiful demigod bodies. So they gave themselves. Sometimes demigods come here and they accept the lower human body to help us, or join in the pastimes of God. So we see here, using harsh. I was just talking about this, how we don't want to use harsh words, how we don't want to be against others, and it says it right here. So if you don't believe in 11th miracle, if you don't believe in the 11th hour or whatever it is called, right? So many miracles already. If you don't believe, here it is again. Okay, this is the small version of Bhagavatam. They have these somewhere still, maybe. Page 226. I just opened it up in front of you by itself, and it exactly said what I just said. So now it's following what I just said. It's not following the book, the other book. It's following what I said. That's called the Holy Spirit, right? But yeah, that's what it is. So, Prabhupada goes on and says, persons who are materialistic and always engage in fruitful activities for material profit cannot endure seeing the flourishing life of others. I just said this yesterday. People who are attached to material things, they don't like to see others. They're enjoying always, they don't like to see others enjoy. Because then they believe, where's the pride in it? Then they feel like, low, I'm just enjoying, I'm just an enjoyer. But if they're enjoying alone, then they feel like, oh, I am supposed to enjoy. Look at me, I'm the one. So this is a sickness and a madness and an illness that we need to stop in our society right away. Okay, because it says here, this is a serious thing, man. Because I've encountered people that like to distress others with harsh words and piercing them. And here it says they already been killed. That's pretty interesting. By providence, Daiva. Avadhit killed by providence, Daiva. Wow. Interesting. Okay, so it says except for a few persons of Krishna consciousness, the entire world is full of such envious persons who are perpetually full of anxieties because they are attached to the material body and are without self-realization. Since their hearts are always filled with anxiety, it's understood that they have already been killed by providence. Thus, Lord Shiva, as a self-realized Vaishnava, was advised not to kill Daksha. Vaishnava is described as Paradukha Dukhi because although he is never distressed in any condition of life, he is distressed to see others in distressed condition. Vaishnavas therefore should not try to kill by any action of the body or mind, but should try to revive Krishna consciousness of others out of compassion for them. The Krishna consciousness movement has been stated to deliver the envious person of the world for the clutches of Maya. Even though the devotees are sometimes put to trouble, they push on all the Krishna consciousness movement in all tolerance, Lord Chaitanya advises. And I just said this actually on Twitter about how they should use rubber bullets. So, the same idea. It's like, we're killing people, we're destroying things, but we understand everybody needs to go to heaven. Who doesn't want to go to heaven? Who doesn't want to get liberated? We actually want to leave people here to suffer? Are we that stupid? Are we that crazy in our sin, in our envy in this world, that we're going to leave people here to suffer and we're not going to try to liberate them when they're in the human body? That's the questions we need to ask ourselves. And that's what I just asked on Twitter. I told people. So it's very aligned. That verse is very aligned with what's going on in my life right now. So I'm going to leave you with that. If you want to, I gave you the indications. You want to look up the verse yourself. It's 4:16:48 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And I hope you had a good time. Take care. Hare Krishna. Ujjvala.